Chapters 1 through 6 of the First Book of Kings, from the World English Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Rhonda Fetterman. The First Book of Kings from the World English Bible, Chapters 1 through 6. Chapter 1. Now King David was old and stricken in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he couldn't keep warm. Therefore his servants said to him, Let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king and cherish him, and let her lie in your bosom, that my lord the king may keep warm. So they sought for a beautiful young lady throughout all the borders of Israel, and found Abishag the Shunammite, and brought her to the king. The young lady was very beautiful, and she cherished the king, and ministered to him, but the king didn't know her intimately. Then Adonijah the son of Haggith exalted himself, saying, I will be king. Then he prepared him chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. His father had not displeased him at any time in saying, Why have you done so? And he was also a very handsome man, and he was born after Absalom. He conferred with Joab the son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they, following Adonijah, helped him. But Zadok the priest, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei, and Rei, and the mighty men who belonged to David, were not with Adonijah. Adonijah killed sheep and cattle and fatlings by the stone of Zoheleth, which is beside Enrogel. And he called all his brothers the king's sons, and all the men of Judah the king's servants. But Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah, and the mighty men, and Solomon his brother, he didn't call. Then Nathan spoke to Bathsheba the mother of Solomon, saying, Haven't you heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith reigns? And David our Lord doesn't know it. Now therefore come, please let me give you counsel, that you may save your own life and the life of your son Solomon. Go in to King David and tell him, Didn't you, my lord king, swear to your handmaid, saying, Assuredly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? Why then does Adonijah reign? Behold, while you yet talk there with the king, I also will come in after you, and confirm your words. Bathsheba went in to the king into the room. The king was very old, and Abishag the Shunammite was ministering to the king. Bathsheba bowed and showed respect to the king. The king said, What would you like? She said to him, My lord, you swore by Yahweh your God to your handmaid, Assuredly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. Now, behold, Adonijah reigns, and you, my lord the king, don't know it. He has slain cattle and fatlings and sheep in abundance, and has called all the sons of the king, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the captain of the army, but he hasn't called Solomon your servant. You, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are on you, that you should tell them who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. Otherwise it will happen when my lord the king shall sleep with his fathers, that I and my son Solomon shall be counted offenders. Behold, while she yet talked with the king, Nathan the prophet came in. They told the king, saying, Behold, Nathan the prophet. When he had come in before the king, he bowed himself before the king with his face to the ground. Nathan said, My lord king, have you said, Adonijah shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? For he is gone down this day, and has slain cattle and fatlings and sheep in abundance, and has called all the king's sons, and the captains of the army, and Abiathar the priest. Behold, they are eating and drinking before him, and say, Long live King Adonijah! But he hasn't called me, even me, your servant, and Zadok the priest, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and your servant Solomon. Is this thing done by my lord the king, and you haven't shown to your servants who should sit on the throne of my lord the king after him?" Then King David answered, "Call to me Bathsheba." She came into the king's presence and stood before the king. The king swore and said, "As Yahweh lives, who has redeemed my soul out of all adversity, most certainly as I swore to you by Yahweh, the God of Israel, saying, Assuredly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Most certainly so will I do this day." Then Bathsheba bowed with her face to the earth and showed respect to the king, and said, "Let my lord King David live forever." King David said, "Call to me Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada." They came before the king. The king said to them, "Take with you the servants of your lord, and cause Solomon my son to ride on my own mule, and bring him down to Gihon. Let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anoint him there king over Israel. Blow the trumpet and say, Long live King Solomon. Then you shall come up after him, and he shall come and sit on my throne, for he shall be king in my place. I have appointed him to be prince over Israel and over Judah." Benaiah the son of Jehoiada answered the king and said, "Amen. May Yahweh, the God of my lord the king, say so. As Yahweh has been with my lord the king, even so may he be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my lord King David." So Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites went down and caused Solomon to ride on King David's mule, and brought him to Gihon. Zadok the priest took the horn of oil out of the tent and anointed Solomon. They blew the trumpet, and all the people said, "Long live King Solomon." All the people came up after him, and the people piped with pipes and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth shook with their sound. Adonijah and all the guests who were with him heard it as they had made an end of eating. When Joab heard the sound of the trumpet, he said, "Why is this noise of the city being in an uproar?" While he yet spoke, behold, Jonathan the son of Abiathar the priest came. And Adonijah said, "Come in, for you are a worthy man, and bring good news." Jonathan answered Adonijah, "Most certainly our lord King David has made Solomon king. The king has sent with him Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and they have caused him to ride on the king's mule. Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king in Gihon. They have come up from their rejoicing, so that the city rang again. This is the noise that you have heard. Also Solomon sits on the throne of the kingdom. Moreover, the king's servants came to bless our lord King David, saying, May your God make the name of Solomon better than your name, and make his throne greater than your throne." And the king bowed himself on the bed. Also thus said the king, "Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Israel, who has given one to sit on my throne this day, my eyes even seeing it." All the guests of Adonijah were afraid and rose up, and each man went his way. Adonijah feared because of Solomon, and he arose and went and caught hold on the horns of the altar. It was told Solomon, saying, "Behold, Adonijah fears King Solomon, for behold, he has laid hold on the horns of the altar, saying, Let King Solomon swear to me first that he will not kill his servant with the sword." Solomon said, "If he shows himself a worthy man, not a hair of him shall fall to the earth. But if wickedness be found in him, he shall die." So King Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the altar. He came and bowed down to King Solomon, and Solomon said to him, "Go to your house." Chapter 2. Now the days of David drew near that he should die, and he commanded Solomon his son, saying, "I am going the way of all the earth. You be strong therefore, and show yourself a man, and keep the instruction of Yahweh your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his ordinances, and his testimonies, according to that which is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do, and wherever you turn yourself, that Yahweh may establish his word, which he spoke concerning me, saying, If your children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, there shall not fail you," he said, "a man on the throne of Israel." Moreover, you know also what Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me, even what he did to the 2 captains of the armies of Israel, to Abner the son of Ner, and to Amasa the son of Jether, whom he killed and shed the blood of war in peace, to put the blood of war on his sash that was about his waist, and in his shoes that were on his feet. Do therefore according to your wisdom, and don't let his gray head go down into Sheol in peace. But show kindness to the sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be those who eat at your table, for so they came to me when I fled from Absalom your brother. Behold, there is with you Shimei, the son of Gera, the Benjamite of Behurim, who cursed me with a grievous curse in the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swore to him by Yahweh, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. Now therefore don't hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man, and you will know what you ought to do to him, and you shall bring his gray head down to Sheol with blood." David slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David. The days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. He reigned 7 years in Hebron, and he reigned 33 years in Jerusalem. Solomon sat on the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was firmly established. Then Adonijah the son of Haggith came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. She said, "Do you come peaceably?" He said, "Peaceably." He said, moreover, "I have something to tell you." She said, "Say on." He said, "You know that the kingdom was mine, and that all Israel set their faces on me, that I should reign. However, the kingdom is turned around, and has become my brother's, for it was his from Yahweh. Now I ask one petition of you, don't deny me." She said to him, "Say on." He said, "Please speak to Solomon the king, for he will not tell you no, that he give me Abishag, the Shunammite, as wife." Bathsheba said, "All right, I will speak for you to the king." Bathsheba therefore went to King Solomon to speak to him for Adonijah. The king rose up to meet her, and bowed himself to her, and sat down on his throne, and caused a throne to be set for the king's mother, and she sat on his right hand. Then she said, "I ask one small petition of you. Don't deny me." The king said to her, "Ask on, my mother, for I will not deny you." She said, "Let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah your brother as wife." King Solomon answered his mother, "Why do you ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is my elder brother, even for him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab the son of Zeruiah." Then King Solomon swore by Yahweh, saying, God do so to me, and more also, if Adonijah has not spoken this word against his own life. Now therefore, as Yahweh lives, who has established me and set me on the throne of David my father, and who has made me a house, as he promised, surely Adonijah shall be put to death this day. King Solomon sent by Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and he fell on him, so that he died. To Abiathar the priest the king said, Go to Anathoth, to your own fields, for you are worthy of death. But I will not at this time put you to death, because you bore the ark of the Lord Yahweh before David my father, and because you were afflicted in all in which my father was afflicted. So Solomon thrust out Abiathar from being priest to Yahweh, that he may fulfill the word of Yahweh, which he spoke concerning the house of Eli in Shiloh. The news came to Joab, for Joab had turned after Adonijah, though he didn't turn after Absalom. Joab fled to the tent of Yahweh and caught hold on the horns of the altar. It was told King Solomon, Joab has fled to the tent of Yahweh, and behold, he is by the altar. Then Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, fall on him. Benaiah came to the tent of Yahweh and said to him, Thus says the king, Come forth. He said, No, but I will die here. Benaiah brought the king word again, saying, Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. The king said to him, Do as he has said, and fall on him, and bury him, that you may take away the blood which Joab shed without cause from me and from my father's house. Yahweh will return his blood on his own head, because he fell on 2 men more righteous and better than he, and killed them with the sword, and my father David didn't know it. Abner the son of Ner, captain of the army of Israel, and Amasa the son of Jether, captain of the army of Judah. So shall their blood return on the head of Joab, and on the head of his seed forever. But to David, and to his seed, and to his house, and to his throne, there shall be peace forever from Yahweh. Then Benaiah the son of Jehoiada went up, and fell on him, and killed him, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. The king put Benaiah the son of Jehoiada in his place over the army, and the king put Zadok the priest in the place of Abiathar. The king sent and called for Shimei, and said to him, Build yourself a house in Jerusalem, and dwell there, and don't go out from there anywhere. For on the day you go out and pass over the brook Kidron, know for certain that you shall surely die. Your blood shall be on your own head. Shimei said to the king, The saying is good, as my lord the king has said, so will your servant do. Shimei lived in Jerusalem many days. It happened at the end of 3 years that 2 of the servants of Shimei ran away to Achish, son of Maacah, king of Gath. They told Shimei, saying, Behold, your servants are in Gath. Shimei arose and saddled his donkey and went to Gath, to Achish, to seek his servants. And Shimei went and brought his servants from Gath. It was told Solomon that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath, and had come again. The king sent and called for Shimei, and said to him, Didn't I adjure you by Yahweh and warn you, saying, Know for certain that on the day you go out and walk abroad anywhere, you shall surely die? You said to me, The saying that I have heard is good. Why then have you not kept the oath of Yahweh and the commandment that I have instructed you with? The king said moreover to Shimei, You know all the wickedness which your heart is privy to, that you did to David my father. Therefore Yahweh shall return your wickedness on your own head. But King Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established before Yahweh forever. So the king commanded Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and he went out and fell on him, so that he died. The kingdom was established in the hand of Solomon. Chapter 3. Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter, and brought her into the city of David, until he had made an end of building his own house, and the house of Yahweh, and the wall of Jerusalem all around. Only the people sacrificed in the high places, because there was no house built for the name of Yahweh until those days. Solomon loved Yahweh, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. The king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. In Gibeon, Yahweh appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give you." Solomon said, "You have shown to your servant David my father great loving kindness, according as he walked before you in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with you. You have kept for him this great loving kindness, that you have given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. Now, Yahweh my God, you have made your servant king instead of David my father. I am but a little child. I don't know how to go out or come in. Your servant is in the midst of your people which you have chosen, a great people that can't be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give your servant therefore an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this, your great people?" The speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. God said to him, "Because you have asked this thing, and have not asked for yourself long life, neither have asked riches for yourself, nor have asked the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern justice. Behold, I have done according to your word. Behold, I have given you a wise and an understanding heart, so that there has been none like you before you, neither after you shall any arise like you. I have also given you that which you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like you all your days. If you will walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days." Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Then he came to Jerusalem, and stood before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and offered up burnt offerings, offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then 2 women who were prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. The one woman said, "O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house. I delivered a child with her in the house. It happened the 3rd day after I delivered that this woman delivered also. We were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, just us 2 in the house. This woman's child died in the night, because she lay on it. She arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while your handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. When I rose in the morning to nurse my child, behold, it was dead. But when I had looked at it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, whom I bore." The other woman said, "No, but the living son is my son, and the dead is your son." This said, "No, but the dead is your son, and the living is my son." Thus they spoke before the king. Then the king said, "The one says, 'This is my son who lives, and your son is the dead.' And the other says, 'No, but your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one.'" The king said, "Get me a sword." They brought a sword before the king. The king said, "Divide the living child in 2, and give half to the one and half to the other." Then the woman whose the living child was spoke to the king, for her heart yearned over her son, and she said, "O my lord, give her the living child, and in no way kill it." But the other said, It shall be neither mine nor yours. Divide it." Then the king answered, "Give her the living child, and in no way kill it. She is its mother." All Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice. Chapter 4. King Solomon was king over all Israel. These were the princes whom he had: Azariah the son of Zadok the priest, Elihoreph and Ahijah the sons of Shisha, scribes, Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud the recorder, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the army, and Zadok and Abiathar were priests, and Azariah the son of Nathan was over the officers, and Zabud the son of Nathan was chief minister, the king's friend, and Aishar was over the household, and Adoniram the son of Abda was over the men subject to forced labor. Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, who provided food for the king and his household. Each man had to make provision for a month in the year. These are their names: Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim, Ben-Decker in Makaz, and in Shiabim, and Beth-Shemesh, and Elon Beth-Hanun, Ben-Hesed in Arubith, to him belonged Soko, and all the land of Hepher. Ben-Abinadab in all the height of Dor, he had Taphath, the daughter of Solomon his wife, Baanah the son of Ahilud in Taanach and Megiddo, and all Beth-Shean, which is beside Zarathan, beneath Jezreel, from Beth-Shean to Abel-Meholah, as far as beyond Jokmeam. Ben-Geber in Ramoth-Gilead, to him belong the towns of Jair, the son of Manasseh, which are in Gilead. To him belong the region of Argob, which is in Bashan, 60 great cities with walls and bronze bars. Ahinadab, the son of Edo, in Mahanaim, Rehimaaz in Naphtali, he also took Basemath, the daughter of Solomon his wife. Baanah, the son of Hushai, in Asher and Baaloth, Jehoshaphat, the son of Peruah, in Izukar. Shimei, the son of Elah, in Benjamin. Geber, the son of Uri, in the land of Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and of Og, king of Bashan. And he was the only officer who was in the land. Judah and Israel were many as the sand, which is by the sea in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. Solomon ruled over all of the kingdoms from the river to the land of the Philistines, and to the border of Egypt. They brought tribute and served Solomon all the days of his life. Solomon's provision for one day was 30 measures of fine flour, and 60 measures of meal, 10 head of fat cattle, and 20 head of cattle out of the pastures, and 100 sheep, besides harts, and gazelles, and roebucks, and fattened fowl. For he had dominion over all on this side the river, from Tiphsah even to Gaza, over all the kings on this side of the river. And he had peace on all sides around him. Judah and Israel lived safely, every man under his vine and under his fig tree, from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots, and 12,000 horsemen. Those officers provided food for King Solomon, and for all who came to King Solomon's table, every man in his month. They let nothing be lacking. Barley also, and straw for the horses, and swift steeds brought they to the place where the officers were, every man according to his duty. God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceeding much, and very great understanding, even as the sand that is on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the East, and all the wisdom of Egypt. For he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ezrahite, and Heman, and Hakol, and Darda, the sons of Mahol. And his fame was in all the nations all around. He spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. He spoke of trees, from the cedar that is in Lebanon, even to the hyssop, that springs out of the wall. He spoke also of animals, and of birds, and of creeping things, and of fish. There came of all peoples to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth, who had heard of his wisdom. Chapter 5. Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants to Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the place of his father, for Hiram was ever a lover of David. Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, You know how that David my father could not build a house for the name of Yahweh his God, for the wars which were about him on every side, until Yahweh put them under the soles of his feet. But now Yahweh my God has given me rest on every side. There is neither adversary nor evil occurrence. Behold, I purpose to build a house in the name of Yahweh my God, as Yahweh spoke to David my father, saying, Your son, whom I will set on your throne in your place, he shall build the house for my name. Now therefore command that they cut me cedar trees out of Lebanon. My servants shall be with your servants, and I will give you wages for your servants according to all that you shall say. For you know that there is not any among us who knows how to cut timber like the Sidonians. It happened when Hiram heard the words of Solomon that he rejoiced greatly, and said, Blessed is Yahweh this day, who has given to David a wise son over this great people. Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have heard the message which you have sent me. I will do all your desire concerning timber of cedar, and concerning timber of fir. My servants shall bring them down from Lebanon to the sea. I will make them into rafts to go by sea to the place that you shall appoint me, and will cause them to be broken up there, and you shall receive them. You shall accomplish my desire in giving food for my household. So Hiram gave Solomon timber of cedar and timber of fir, according to all his desire. Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food to his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Solomon gave this to Hiram year by year. Yahweh gave Solomon wisdom, as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon, and they two made a treaty together. King Solomon raised a levy out of all Israel, and the levy was 30,000 men. He sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month by courses. A month they were in Lebanon, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the men subject to forced labor. Solomon had 70,000 who bore burdens, and 80,000 who were stone cutters in the mountains. Besides Solomon's chief officers who were over the work, 3,300 who bore rule over the people who labored in the work. The king commanded, and they cut out great stones, costly stones, to lay the foundation of the house with worked stone. Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders and the Gebalites cut them, and prepared the timber and the stones to build the house. Chapter 6. It happened in the 480th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziv, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of Yahweh. The house which King Solomon built for Yahweh, its length was 60 cubits, and its breadth 20, and its height 30 cubits. The porch before the temple of the house, 20 cubits was its length, according to the breadth of the house. 10 cubits was its breadth before the house. For the house he made windows of fixed lattice work. Against the wall of the house he built stories all around, against the walls of the house all around, both of the temple and of the oracle. And he made side rooms all around. The nethermost story was 5 cubits broad, and the middle was 6 cubits broad, and the third was 7 cubits broad. For on the outside he made offsets in the wall of the house all around, that the beams should not have hold in the walls of the house. The house, when it was in building, was built of stone prepared at the quarry, and there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house, while it was in building. The door for the middle side rooms was in the right side of the house, and they went up by winding stairs into the middle story, and out of the middle into the third. So he built the house and finished it. And he covered the house with beams and planks of cedar. He built the stories against all the house, each 5 cubits high, and they rested on the house with timber of cedar. The word of Yahweh came to Solomon, saying, Concerning this house which you are building, if you will walk in my statutes, and execute my ordinances, and keep all my commandments to walk in them, then I will establish my word with you, which I spoke to David your father. I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will not forsake my people Israel. So Solomon built the house and finished it. He built the walls of the house within, with boards of cedar. From the floor of the house to the walls of the ceiling, he covered them on the inside with wood. And he covered the floor of the house with boards of fir. He built 20 cubits on the hinder part of the house with boards of cedar from the floor to the ceiling. He built them for it within, for an oracle, even for the most holy place. In front of the temple sanctuary was 40 cubits. There was cedar on the house within, carved with buds and open flowers. All was cedar, there was no stone seen. He prepared an oracle in the midst of the house within, to set there the ark of the covenant of Yahweh. Within the oracle was 20 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in breadth, and 20 cubits in its height. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and he covered the altar with cedar. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold. And he drew chains of gold across before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. The whole house he overlaid with gold, until all the house was finished. Also the whole altar that belonged to the oracle he overlaid with gold. In the oracle he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, each 10 cubits high. 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub. From the uttermost part of the one wing to the uttermost part of the other were 10 cubits. The other cherub was 10 cubits. Both the cherubim were of one measure and one form. The height of the one cherub was 10 cubits, and so it was of the other cherub. He set the cherubim within the inner house, and the wings of the cherubim were stretched forth, so that the wings of the one touched the one wall, and the wings of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. He overlaid the cherubim with gold. He carved all the walls of the house around with carved figures of cherubim, and palm trees and open flowers, inside and outside. The floor of the house he overlaid with gold, inside and outside. For the entrance of the oracle he made doors of olive wood. The lintel and doorposts were a 5th part of the wall. So he made 2 doors of olive wood, and he carved on them carvings of cherubim and palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold. And he spread the gold on the cherubim and on the palm trees. So also made he for the entrance of the temple doorposts of olive wood, out of a 4th part of the wall, and 2 doors of fir wood. The 2 leaves of the one door were folding, and the 2 leaves of the other door were folding. He carved cherubim and palm trees and open flowers, and he overlaid them with gold fitted on the engraved work. He built the inner court with 3 courses of cut stone and a course of cedar beams. In the 4th year was the foundation of the house of Yahweh laid, in the month Ziv. In the 11th year, in the month Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all its parts, and according to all its fashion. So was he 7 years in building it. End of chapters 1 through 6. Recording by Rhonda Fetterman.